Welcome to the Grand Compendium. Today I have compiled two stories that I covered in previous videos, because a third part was posted not long ago. This story would be that of Echo, a problematic GM, player, and as it turns out, person as well. So without further ado, I present to you the Echo Saga. Let's begin. The first part is titled, DM's DMPC is a god, we're just the side characters. TLDR at the end for the people who don't want to read the whole post. I got you. I want to start off the story by saying this was my first ever experience with D&D. I had no prior exposure to D&D, so thought everything the DM had done was normal at that table. Oh boy, how wrong I was. So this happened back in 2021. We were fresh out of lockdown and starving for some friend time. One of my friends, we'll call him Big Tat, owns a tattoo shop, I see now, and tells us his apprentice was wanting to run a D&D campaign. So myself and four of my friends decided to join. They are as follows. Paladin, a longtime player and precious group DM, kind of the dad figure to us newer players. Monk, a longtime D&D fan, especially of Critical Role. Warlock, the wisecracking and Monk's boyfriend, now husband. Bard, Big Tat. This was his first time playing D&D too. And finally me, playing a reborn sorceress who had been sacrificed to the Raven Queen, but brought back for reasons you'll find out later. I had just wrote it that she had unfinished business, but the DM had other plans. So we got together and began our story. Our DM proudly proclaimed that we would be playing through Princes of the Apocalypse, and that not to worry as he knew the story was pretty bare bones, but he had a way to flesh it out. The way he decided to flesh it out, you might be asking, was with his DMPC Echo. And let me tell you, Echo was about to become our worst nightmare. For you see, Echo wasn't just a DMPC. He was a character our DM had been sitting on for quite some time. He was actually writing a whole book series around him, unbeknownst to us. And he would go on long tangents mid-game to tell us all about the awesome and cool things Echo could do. I remember once just straight up asking him, "So what exactly is Echo's class?" And I kid you not, the DM said something to the effect of, "Oh, Echo doesn't have a class. He's far beyond that in terms of power." Anyway, our party all meet and decided to travel together. It gets to night, and we decide to stop and make camp. We set up a watch rotation, and the first person to take watch was me. As I'm making my rounds, a mysterious dark-hooded figure approaches from the shadows. I naturally ask them who they are and what they're doing here. The figure then lunges forward and attacks my level 1 sorcerer. The commotion wakes up the rest of the party, and we roll for initiative. Our monk rolls high and gets to go first, landing a good blow. Then our paladin steps up to the mark and strikes the enemy. Our warlock goes next and sends Eldritch Blast towards the foe. It was then the DM's turn. With a grin, he describes how, like a shadow of death, this man slices through our monk, paladin, and warlock effortlessly, leaving them unconscious in one swoop. He then points his sword at Bard and me. It's my turn next, and I do what I think is the logical thing to do, and put my hands up to surrender, asking him what it is he wants. He simply replies, "This is a test, my dear, and you have all failed." Bard goes next. He goes to attack, but is stabbed and left unconscious along with the rest. But, surprise everyone! It was only a shared dream. We all wake up the next morning to find the hooded man in camp, making us all breakfast with a wide grin on his face. I could tell that Monk and Warlock in particular were unimpressed with the shenanigans that just happened, but we proceeded anyways. The mysterious man then introduces himself as Echo. And Echo is, hold on to your hats for this, time-traveling, multiverse-hopping, wormhole-riding, reality-bending, all-knowing, super-duper edgy and cool god. And he needs our level 1 parties to help save the world or something. Me being new to D&D thought this was cool. I immediately became infatuated with Echo and would ask him lots of questions with the DM just absolutely lapped up. The rest of the party were less than impressed. There were concerns raised, but DM assured us that Echo would just be a bystander as we were the real heroes. And in a flash, 6 months IRL passed, and we had done 0 of the actual objectives of Princes of the Apocalypse, and had just been Echo's servants, fetching him items, finding his lost relatives, and just meaningless tasks. And everything we'd done had 0 impact on anything, as it was like we were playing characters from one of the DM's books, and this was the Echo show. Eventually the bubble burst, and it all came to a head one night during a level 20 one-shot. We had been combat-starved for weeks, so I suggested we do a level 20 one-shot, and done a full-blown boss rush relay. Everyone was excited and on board, as it was just meant to be us 4 facing off against progressively harder and harder enemies. It was meant to be Echo-free, but of course the DM couldn't help himself. And Echo popped into the pocket dimension we had been sucked into and scolded us, saying we were wasting time and that the real fight was happening in our world. Apparently, the moment we stepped into this level 20 one-shot pocket dimension was the exact moment that the actual story of the campaign started, and the Princes of the Apocalypse were released and wreaking havoc on our world. Basically, the DM was trying to press fast forward on our level 20 one-shot so we could go back outside and play with Echo again. But we were having none of it. We told Echo to shove off and we'd be back once we were all done here. So what did the DM do in order to force us back? He power word killed our paladin, had an enemy one-shot my sorceress, and dispatched the rest of the party in various ways. Echo then reappeared, brought us all back to life, killed the remaining enemies, and with a snap of his fingers, brought us back to our world. That was the final straw. The campaign very unceremoniously came to an end after that, with everyone basically saying they were bored as fuck of the campaign and of Echo. Oh, and remember how earlier I mentioned that my character was brought back to life by the Raven Queen because she had unfinished business? Well, the DM decided that wasn't enough. Not only was I his other DM PC's love interest, but I was also Echo's long-lost great-great-great-granddaughter, and I was a secret god. I was mortified. TLDR, DM PC is god, and we're just along for the ride. We spend 9 months IRL being his DM PC's slaves, and don't actually play the module. End of part 1. DM PCs. Love them or hate them. Mostly hate, let's be honest. It takes a level of incompetence and confidence to say to yourself, you know what my campaign needs? My own self-insert that'll do nothing but annoy the party and act like the main character when my players ask themselves why they even bothered come to this session. 9 times out of 10, a DM PC is gonna fail horrendously and just become some overpowered OC. Even if the DM doesn't intend it, they're probably gonna naturally cling more towards a character they created, especially when they view it as their own player character. Which is why DM PCs are just a good thing to avoid. Honestly, this story is definitely a horror story, but I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory why. This is just a campaign that kinda got ruined by a DM so obsessed with his own OC that he couldn't actually run a game for the life of him. The second part is titled, The Worst DM is Also the Worst Player. TLDR at the end. Part 2 of the Echo Saga. So here it is, the long-awaited follow-up story of Echo, our terrible DM. I'll link the previous story just below for context, but the TLDR is Echo, the DMPC, is literally a super god, and we spend 9 IRL months being his lackeys and not playing the module. Okay, so after that awful campaign came to an end, we stopped playing D&D altogether for about a year. That was until my friend moved close to us and asked if we would be interested in starting a new D&D campaign with him as the DM. We'd heard from other friends that he was a great DM, so we were all excited to get started. The cast are as follows, with some previous players not returning. Me playing Eileen, an elf bloodhunter/ranger. Big Tat playing Yuna, a big blue sexy Goliath barbarian. Paladin from previous game, now playing Akon, a fighter Yuan Ti. And finally Echo, playing Sparky, a Twilight cleric. His choice of class will become important later. So we start off the adventure, and for the first few weeks everything goes well. Until it doesn't. Sparky, for some reason, despite being a good aligned character, insists on picking fights with guards when he doesn't get his way, freeing trapped angry polar bears, and being surprised when they attack, and just generally being very antagonistic towards things he doesn't like. All these actions have a roll-on effect as we are a group. We try to have a chat with him about it, and his behavior improves, but not for long. His character, for some context, was just all over the place in general. He kept on asking the DM to make sanity checks, even though that wasn't a mechanic we were using, and then using his results as an excuse for whatever nonsense he was up to. Then there was his class. Now, spoilers for Rime of the Frost Maiden here, so skip to the next part if you want to avoid any spoilers. We were infiltrating a Duergar stronghold in the mountains, and Sparky kept on insisting we went a certain route, even though, once again as a party, we had decided to go another. He was huffy, but relented. When we got ambushed by the Duergar, Sparky made a comment like, "Should've listened to me." He went into initiative and started fighting, but when it came to the Duergar's turns, they went invisible and got the upper hand. That's when Sparky, with a massive grin on his face, cast Fairy Fire, but the DM had other plans. He then describes the Duergar running away, leaving us to chase after them, right into a massive trap. We ended the session there, and Sparky made a comment about, "That's not what was meant to happen there." After he left, me and the DM sat and discussed his behavior, and why he was so tilted by some encounters we've had. It was then that the DM dropped the bombshell. Sparky had read the module and was trying to bet the game. It all suddenly made sense. His class choice directly countered a lot of the enemy types in the module, his constant forcing us in certain directions to avoid traps and ambushes, and the way he would insist on interacting with NPCs, only to be disappointed with the outcome he got. I was annoyed. What's the point if you're just going to cheat and try to win the game while making it miserable for the rest of us? The DM assured me he had a plan, and that Sparky was not going to get the module as written because he had tailored it to our way of playing and our characters' backstories. And sure enough, as the weeks went on, Sparky's frustrations became more and more apparent as things he expected to happen didn't. Personally, I was loving it. Our DM had obviously put in a lot of time and effort to make the story connected to our characters, rather than just as written. But it all came to a head during an encounter that once again the party wanted to deal with one way, and Sparky decided to deal with his way. So, picture this. You've just rocked up to a suspected hag's cave in an isolated icy mountain. Outside, you see the remains of the previous adventuring party who dared try and enter, smeared all over the ice. You decide to send the stealthiest character in to have a snoop around before charging in. While inside, you find more humanoid remains, a butcher room, and the most disturbing thing, a 30-foot undead frost giant entombed in ice. You report back to the rest of your group, and decide that stealth is very much the correct decision. Now, does your cleric A follow the plan and help your characters stealth their way in, B ask their god for guidance before blessing your fellow party members, or C ignore all the other party members, run up to the entrance of the cave, and shout at the top of their lungs, "Hello, you in the cave?" If you guess C, you're correct. We all asked the DM if there was any way to stop this, but unfortunately Sparky had made it clear that he had ran ahead. So, out comes the 30-foot undead frost giant, and initiative starts. I rolled super high and went first. I turn to the DM and say, I use the dash action and use my full movement to get away from Sparky, because let's be honest here, there's no way my character would put her life on the line for him after repeatedly not working with the team and putting our lives in danger. As she runs away, you hear her cursing your name, Sparky, and she gives you the finger. He was stunned, and I was done. The other two players love a fight though, so we did end up fighting the undead frost giant, and I got the killing blow from a distance using my bow. Sparky spent the whole combat unconscious, as right after I went, it was the frost giant's turn, and he used all 3 of his attacks to turn Sparky into Twilight Paste. Very satisfying. After the session, we all had a chat with Sparky, telling him it's maybe best he retire the character, as clearly he wasn't working. But in the case with most of these D&D horror stories, the trash took itself out. He permanently stepped away from the group. After a few weeks, we brought in a new player, and she has been the best addition to the team ever. So happy ending. TLDR. So yeah, I didn't think it was possible for Echo to be a worse player than a DM, but I was wrong. He cheated, he didn't work with the group, and he tried to outsmart our DM and win D&D. There is one more horror story involving Echo that's probably the worst offense of all, but this story is already long enough, so I'll save it for another day. End of part 2. Well, at least we have a happy ending this time. Echo clearly just doesn't understand the concept of a team game, and is just more focused on experiencing what winning in D&D is like. Though that really isn't a thing. The closest thing to it is having fun. I know that sounds cheesy, but I mean it is a game, and that's usually the goal of most games. What Echo is doing, unfortunately, has the opposite effect on groups, and makes all the players feel like they lost the game. Metagaming might be the saddest form of cheating there is. Lying about your dice rolls is one thing, but using information your character doesn't have just to get the edge over your DM is kind of pathetic, especially since you're still bound by the randomness of the dice, and you never know what might happen. The final part is titled The Echo Saga, Part 3. The third and final installment of the Echo Saga. I'll link part 1 and 2 below, but the TLDR for both parts is we had a DM who brought his DM PC to the table. Echo. He was basically a god and totally broke the game. Our characters were like side characters in the Echo show. When that campaign came to an unceremonious end, he was invited back to be a player in a new campaign, where he decided to be the most confrontational character that didn't work well with the party, and he read the module ahead of time, trying to win the game. So by now we've all established just how bad it was to have this guy at the table. But the straw that really broke the camel's back was his birthday game. So I have the luxury of having a spare room that is completely devoted to hobby stuff. D&D, tinkering, and miniature painting, and it's always available for any of my friends to use as well. It was coming up to Echo's birthday, and he asked if it would be okay if we used my spare room to host his birthday party. He wanted to give our DM a break and have everyone over at mine's for pizza and games, because his flat didn't have room for everyone. Fair enough, I thought. We'd get to hang out together and celebrate his birthday with everyone. He asked if it would be okay if his dad came. Now, I've never met his dad before, and neither had the rest of the friend group apart from Big Tat on a very rare occasion. I asked why he wanted his dad there, to which he said, because he's gonna run a game for us. Okay, I thought, if it's his birthday, and if he wants to do a one-shot with his dad as the DM, to let our DM join in, then why not? Foolish me. So the night rolls round, and everyone piles in, and Echo introduces his dad, who it turns out was also called Echo. Not the real name, but they had the same name. Now, Echo Jr. is a wee bit odd, but we're all a bit odd in our friend groups. But Echo Sr. is very fucking odd. He's never met any of us before, but to break the ice, he makes an inappropriate joke about one of our players' wives having an empty and saying to her husband, "Oh well, you know what she'll be doing tonight, am I right?" To which the player replied, how about we keep the "your wife's a slag" jokes to a minimum. I was out the room at the time and missed the interaction, but the atmosphere was definitely a bit frosty after that, and we hadn't even went upstairs to the game room yet. We get our pizza, go upstairs and set up. Now here's the thing, we were all expecting to play a D&D 5e one-shot, but Echo Senior pulls out a 12-page document, cards, and character sheets for us all, and tells us we will be playing Pandemonium. I've no doubt that Pandemonium is a fantastic game when people are prepared to play it, but what follows is an absolute clusterfuck of us having to try and learn a new system, understand what we have to do as players, and read through rules, characters, secret objectives, and so on. After scrambling through all the paperwork to try and understand even just the basics, we began. And Echo Senior does not have an indoor voice. I'm sitting 2 seats away from this man, in his 50s, and he is screaming at the top of his lungs pretending to be our jailer. So I said to him, "I have neighbors, their bedroom is right through the wall, can we keep it down please?" It lasted about 5 minutes before the shouting started again. Thankfully my husband came upstairs and commented on the volume, and he finally quieted down. I'm also not sure how long a game of Pandemonium should last, but we were about 4+ hours into the game and getting nowhere. Anytime we tried to do anything like complete an objective or try to do one of our secret objectives, there was always something in the way that Echo Senior put in our way. I have never been so frustrated in a game. It was completely pointless because no matter what we did, nothing made a difference. And finally, the kicker. So for those of you reading this, you should know I'm very dyslexic. Maths in particular are difficult for me. So I ask Echo Senior if I can make a roll. I roll and very softly start counting out the results out loud as it helps. This fully grown man shouts at the top of his lungs, "I hate it when people count out loud, it's so annoying!" A stunned silence fell upon the table, apart from Echo Jr., who was laughing his head off. So I turn round, look at this man dead in the eyes, and say, "Well, I'm dyslexic, so it helps if you really must know." To which he replies, "Well, my daughter's dyslexic and she doesn't have any trouble counting in her head." The actual brass neck of this man. Not only did he insult me once, but twice in my own home. For his kid's birthday. As a guest. I don't think I've felt anger like this before. It was like a slap in the face, and all the horrible comments teachers used to make to me in school came flooding back. So I said to him as calmly as I could, "Well, good for your daughter, but do me a favor, fuck off. Fuck off out of my house, pack your shit and leave." But as it turns out, social cues are lost on Echo Senior and Junior, who started laughing again. I wish I could have seen my face, because my friend told me afterwards, "I thought you were about to fly over the table and deck him." Echo Jr. wanted to continue the game, but myself and the others had well and truly checked out. I said, "My character pulls a pin on her grenade, holds it close, and blows herself up." "What? You can't do that," shouts Echo Sr. "You'll be out of the game!" "Good, because I think the game's over for tonight. Time to pack up," I said. As he's packing up and leaving, he decides to tell us all how shit we were at playing the game, and how we were only halfway through, and that none of his other parties had this much trouble playing the game. The man was like an insult generator, but totally oblivious to the reactions of the people they were aimed at. Needless to say, Echo Senior was never welcome in my house again, and about 2 weeks after his birthday, Echo Jr. removed himself from the group. I heard through the grapevine that both Echoes had tried a few times to set up games in a few gaming stores, but were told no. I wonder why. So that is the conclusion of the Echo Saga. I hope you enjoyed this tournament as much as I did. Wishing you all happy gaming. End of story. Well, that's a sort of happy ending. Like father, like son, as they say. It's kind of funny that both of our echoes share the same name, and act similarly as well. It's like they split off by mitosis. Anyways, tossing your players a game system they've never heard of when they expected that they'd be playing D&D is honestly kind of funny to me. But you shouldn't do that. I love learning new RPG systems that aren't D&D, but I wouldn't just throw the starter guide to Call of Cthulhu at my players and be like, here you go, read up, we're gonna do this instead. Though that isn't the problem of the story. Echoes Senior and Junior clearly struggle to pick up on social cues. In this case, the very simple rule known as not talking shit to the person hosting your game night and birthday party. Also, introducing yourself and then insulting someone's wife within minutes of meeting that person is a truly impressive example of not being able to read the room. But that's all I'll say, and I won't keep you all here for much longer. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you want to watch a D&D campaign that doesn't have any horror in it, please consider watching Heroes of Valeria, our very own D&D actual play.